So FinTech Close-Up is a series of events where we invite FinTech founders, FinTech key personnel to tell their story, how have they built FinTech, and we can learn from them. My name is Nauris Bloks. I'm FinTech Business Education Lead at RBS. Today with me, I would like to welcome Viktor Bodnar, co-founder of B2B crypto platform BlockBen, CEO of cross-border payment platform Benker, and Latvia has just recently, last week, issued the first MiCA license, Markets in Crypto Assets license, and this came to the company, BlockBen. So welcome, Viktor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
So we will get to the BlockBen for sure. Yeah, so that's the highlight of our discussion. But before we jump into the BlockBen, Banker, and your current positions, tell a little bit about your background. Yeah, so the first, actually, Viktor is also our first international speaker. Yeah, so he's from Hungary, so not the Latvian. So that also brings some new knowledge. But tell you about yourself. So what you have learned, education, work before. Yeah, so.
Okay, so thank you for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here. You have to excuse me, my Latvian is limited, so I have to stick with English. I speak Hungarian as well. That would be a problem for most of you. So my background, I have a business education background. I have a master's in project management. So I consider myself a program manager or project manager by trade. Initially, the first 10, 12 years of my professional life, I spent with a property development organization, developing property basically, both in Hungary and in Australia. Then I lived in Australia for
Australia,
okay. Yes.
That's not close.
Other side of the, the globe, yes. So down under 5 years. And it was in 2017 when I was thinking, I've been always thinking of trying something else and learning something new. And one of my best friends, my childhood friends, we grew up together, one of my business partners, even today, he kept on bugging me to get into the crypto space a little bit. And it's okay, why not? Let's do it. And we always try to be amongst the first, especially Hungarian-owned company, to be on the regulatory side and compliance side with crypto. Back in 2017, they thought that we were stupid. Yeah? Like, why would you do crypto in a licensed and in a regulated way? And people don't say this, but this is something that you would have to take into account when you are looking at where you want to expand. Clients are open, looking at all the fintech companies and the technology companies in the region. I think it's very obvious that the region itself is tech savvy and they're open to new things, and it's very international. That's what we found. And all of these matters, I think, arrived at a conclusion. And we are very happy to be in Latvia, and we look forward to growing the business here.
Still, the Lithuania has established a better fintech hub earlier. Yeah? So also you had some operations in Lithuania. So still, how did you decide that the Latvia would be better in this case? Because you already had experience with the Lithuania regulator. So why not to do the micro licensing also there?
As I said, there's numerous factors to consider, and we arrived at the conclusion to come to Latvia.
Okay. So
I'm not trying to avoid the question, but a little bit.
Yeah. So now we are happy that you are here.
Yeah. So thanks for having us. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So did you evaluate some other, not Latvia, Lithuania, some other regulators? Or you see that there is no better place where to go?
We're speaking. So operating a business like this, you are speaking with numerous regulators continuously, not necessarily from a licensing perspective. Any of you guys know what passporting is, for example, in financial institutions? So for those who do not know, so basically all the big financial companies or fintech companies do the same thing. You are licensed in one jurisdiction, and then you are so-called passporting it to usually all the other member states in the European Union. So therefore you're able to provide services in other states than the state where you have obtained the license. That's what passporting. So not only from passporting, but other consumer matters and whatever, you always have some type of relation with the regulators. And our view is wherever we have a lot of activities, like Hungary, for example, is one of that, we always proactively speak with the regulators. So we go to approach them first rather than being approached by the regulator for whatever questions they might have, legitimate questions in a matter. So we are speaking with, I wouldn't say a dozen, but at least a handful of regulators on a continuous basis with a lot of matters.
All right. Good. Let's check in with the audience. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're, yeah. Let's start with some questions about this topic. Yeah.
I'd like to just throw in a quick question to have a context. Why do you need a license at all to run your business?
That's a question you should have asked the European Union in 2023 when the Parliament or the Assembly accepted the regulation. Because it's a financial service and it's a MiCA regulation, markets in crypto assets regulation, which actually deals with who can provide services related to cryptocurrencies within the European Union. And that's a law you need to comply with. I'm not sure where your question is actually coming from. If you're trying to challenge whether the regulation is right or wrong, I'm not sure that's the matter, or you just technical, okay.
Why do you need it? I didn't know that you have to be...
Why do you need?
I didn't know that you have to be licensed in order to provide cryptocurrency services.
So previously, some of the member states, including Estonia, and the more the time has passed, the more member states would have had some type of local, call it regulation or some type of act in place for cryptocurrency companies to comply with, but it was not consistent through the European Union. Yeah? So there were some states where you would have to speak with the tax office. It depends on, I wouldn't get into too deep because it might be a bit boring, but each country had some type of interpretation what to do with crypto, but it was never all the way through, no, it was never a Europe-wide solution. Yeah, it wasn't correct, yeah, thank you, so it wasn't harmonized, yeah. So then Europe, there were always some issues around cryptos in looking at from a legal perspective, in the regulator's head or in the state's head. One is money laundering matters and one is consumer protection matters. So when you were dealing crypto back in, or anyone, there were no guarantees or there were no safeguards in place in most of the states. So the European Union came up with the idea, which we're very happy for. They came up with a Europe-wide regulation on crypto. So the logic is the same you would have with banks, with electronic monies, with insurance companies. There's one ultimate legislation you need to comply with, and you have to obtain a license in one member state. And that's the reason. But what's the reason behind it? Because they want to make sure that retail users are not tricked and not screwed, if I may say that. And they want to make sure that regulators and tax office and everyone can look into the operation and data what you guys have as a crypto company. That's the reason behind it. And it's not an option when you comply with it. The law got accepted and the European Union gave a 18-month transition period starting the 1st of January this year. And that goes all the way until 2026, June 30th. And each member state can decide at which date they want to end the so-called transition period. So Hungary was the middle of this year, so that was from July the 1st onwards you could not carry out activities without a MiCA license. Lithuania is the end of December this year, and it varies. But there's only a handful of states who are actually maintaining the transition period until the middle of next year. So that's the legal framework, but it's not an option whether you want to comply with it or not. So.
Bit to build on this question, we will go back to the questions, but a bit to build on this question. From your experience and knowledge now, do you see this MiCA framework as an advantage for your business model or more like limitation for expansion and future growth?
If you accept the fact, which I very much agree with, but a lot of players will not agree with me, previous players, I consider cryptocurrency as a financial service and not as a technology. So if you accept the fact it's a financial service because you are selling and buying assets from people or they are buying it from each other for money or for other cryptos, I think it's a financial service to a level that needs to be regulated regardless we like it or not. If you look at that as a technology, so you have a blockchain and you believe, which a lot of people used to believe back in the day, I think that cryptocurrency can be a shadow system around normal money. I never thought it will sustain forever like that, and as you see, regulation change. So I think it's a necessary thing to have, and it has wiped out 95% of the market, on the other hand. So can it kill innovation? I don't think it will kill innovation, it will just rearrange the market. So if you are a tech company or if you are a blockchain company, that will, somewhere in the supply chain, it will have a very strong space, but it not necessarily will be a licensed institution, I think. So it will have some innovation in, remaining, I think, but the market itself will rearrange.
If the 95% were wiped out, then for your business it was very good.
I wouldn't jump to conclusions, but it's something that we are very grateful for our license, put it this way.
All right, good. Some more questions there was.
I'm gonna throw the mic. Yeah, and then you can pass.
Yeah. My quick question regarding the licensing process. How long did it took all the process starting from the sort of idea to license here in Latvia and then throughout the process till the license was issued? And maybe you have like key learnings, things that you would do maybe differently throughout this licensing process, or some fuck-ups or things like that.
Where did it start? I think it started 7-8 years ago, basically, because you need to be in a manner that you will have a central bank that's willing to and looks forward to be working with you. So I don't think you can just take it out of context that you apply for a license and then if you're fortunate enough and you work hard and the university is nice enough, you obtain a license in the end. So I don't think you can take out of context. The entire procedure, under the legislation, you were unable to lodge a license application prior to the 1st of January 2025, sorry, yeah, so this year. Looking at the entire process, looking at pre-lodgements, meetings with the regulator, preparation as well, you're looking at close to a year. But that's fast, yeah? Looking at, so you will, to have a license that fast, you will need a regulator who wants to and who's proactively looking for these opportunities with market players already, and so it depends. But in terms of volume of documents, it's a big thing, yeah. So it's 100+ documents, policies, procedures, and looking at pages, it's over 3,000 to 4,000 pages custom. So it's not only you keep in mind, it's not only a set of documents you need to prepare, yeah. So it's a business you need to be able to run in a compliant manner. Start earlier.
So when
really.
When you came to the, when you came to the Latvian regulator with the intention that we want to apply for the license, that was last year already?
I wouldn't comment on that, yes.
Okay.
But looking at from roughly a year, yeah. But that includes, in Latvia there is a thing, it's called pre-licensing, which I think it's a very, very smart thing, how the regulator does it. I'm not sure if you guys know about it. Any of them? Okay. So just in short, so normally, if you read the legislation, one would think that if you comply with every element of the legislation, you just rock up at the regulator and lodge for an application and you will get a license in, I don't know, 40 days or whatever the legislation said. But in the end of the day, it's a lot more complex. So you need to start proactively communicating with the regulator, and basically you need to sell them your idea what you want to create as a business. And once they are very supportive, then they will most likely encourage potential applicants to apply for a license, and then you go through the journey with them. Speaking from a regulator side, which we've seen, and not only because I personally have a very good and very positive experience with the regulator, looking at other companies and other jurisdictions, this is a new license type for regulators. So it's not a license type that's been out on the market for, say, 10 years, and regulators have a strong experience how to do it. So if you take this into context as well, I think the regulator was great and very, very helpful. I'm not sure that's the best way to phrase it, but
supportive. Yeah.
Supportive, yes, that's a good word, probably, yes. But I see other jurisdictions where you don't have any MiCA licenses issued. I wouldn't name any of them because it gets a bit, but you can find and look at all the 90-some MiCA licenses issued in the European Union as of today. Look at which jurisdictions have issued and which have not. And they will have a reason always.
Bit to build on this question, so you had also went through the EMI and payment institution licensing processes. So
that is correct.
How you compare this? This is more complex or the same level of complexity or just different?
Different, obviously different. Looking at the current MiCA interpretation, how it's licensed, I think it has a lot of MiFID elements. I'm not sure if you know anything about MiFID. So MiFID is basically about investment products and financial products creation in licensing. That's one bit. And from a procedural perspective and from a business continuity perspective whatsoever, there are some similarities you would have seen with the electronic money institutions. But you cannot copy paste like, we've done an EMI, say, we licensed an EMI, say, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and you just copy paste what you found there. You will have a knowledge, but since we are running such organizations in a compliant manner, you will have a mindset how to document and how to set up a business like this. So that helps a lot. But I think if you want to start from zero, you need to find the jurisdiction that will be welcoming you first, that will be challenging, probably. And second, if you find a jurisdiction that will be welcoming, then you need to put all these things together, and then it will be a learning curve one way or the other.
Okay, let's take one more question from audience.
Hi. I saw BlockBen presentation in FinTech Association when it was in Hungary, embassy also, I think you presented. But I wanted to ask, you got, BlockBen is registered in 20th of May this year. How hard it was for Latvian commercial bank to issue you actually an account? Because we've heard that it's kind of challenging for other companies to acquire a bank account here, and especially, I know that Magnetic Bank is right now your partner. So
What's the question?
So the question is, how hard it was to show?
Issue that for fintech companies, banks are not very open to open accounts, so bank accounts.